Welcome back, Zoo Yogis, and happy Earth Week. For today's lesson, we're going to take things outside and do some simple nature-inspired yoga poses. So when you have some free time, head out into your backyard and join me. For our first pose, we're going to start out with a classic nature-inspired yoga pose, tree pose. So for this, we're just going to start with our left foot down and then continue breathing and keeping your balance. You're slowly going to lift that right foot off of the ground and then point the knee out towards the side. Now you can place your foot below the knee, or if you're feeling up for a challenge, you can slowly start to bring it up above the knee. And then you can bring your hands together, focus on something in front of you that's not moving around, and breathe. And feel free to take some inspiration from the trees that you see around you. Try out some different branches with your arms. You can stretch your arms all the way up to be a nice tall tree. You can bend your arms and do as silly as you want. You can twist your arms and just make whatever tree shape calls to you. Hold it for a couple of breaths, and then on your exhale, you're just gonna bring your hands back together and slowly step down. And of course, we are gonna try it out on the other side for a few breaths, and then let's jump into the next pose. Our next pose is gonna be one that I like to call sunrise pose. So for this, we're gonna start in a squat. So you're gonna step your feet out a little wider than hip distance apart and then slowly sink to sit down in between your knees. You can keep your hands together for now. And of course, we're rising like a sun. So all we're gonna do is take a deep breath in, and on that inhale, we're gonna start to straighten up our bodies, stretch, stretch, stretch up, open the arms wide like a big round sun. And then on your exhale, slowly make your way back down into the squat. So let's do that one more time. Think like a big rising sun. Inhale, stretch the arms up wide, wiggle your fingers, come up onto your toes, and then exhale and sink all the way back down into the hips. And we're gonna do that a couple more times on your own before we jump into the next pose. And now lastly, we are gonna come into a nice seated position for two final poses. These poses are gonna go together. It's butterfly pose and flower pose. So starting with our butterfly pose, we're gonna bring the bottoms of our feet together, pull your heels in a little bit closer, sit up nice and tall, and take some deep breaths. And if you really wanna channel your inner butterfly, you can gently and slowly flap your wings by lifting your knees up and down. And this is where things can get a little bit challenging, so stay with me. From here, we're gonna come into our flower pose. So starting just like this, you're gonna lift those feet off of the ground, keep your chest high, and then slowly start to bring your hands underneath your legs. So we're forming some petals here with our hands and our knees, okay? So keep your fingertips spread, take some deep breaths, and then slowly lower your feet back down into your butterfly pose. And you can try it out a couple of times. So just flap your wings, pretend like you're a butterfly looking for a nice pretty flower to gather some pollen, and then slowly start to lift up and come into that flower pose. And again, take a couple of deep breaths, find your balance, and then lower back down. And you can try that over and over again a few times. Thank you so much for joining me for another Zoo Yoga lesson. And remember, if you and your family try these poses out at home, remember to tag us at Zoo Miami and also tag #ZooCademy in your photos and videos that you share. I hope you have a wonderful Earth Week and continue to do and share all the cool things that you're doing to help the planet. See you next time.